Where are the women rights activists? Are you silent or have you been silenced? Every day more than 1,000 women are raped in Congo camps. Among them are little girls whose bodies haven't fully developed. Little angels whose first introduction to the world is a train run, a gangbang. When they try to resist, they are sent to an early grave in the most brutal, inhumane way. Yet you maintain your silence. Hashtag my sister's keeper. Hashtag a girl's girl. Hashtag a woman's woman under all your posts on social media. Yet when it comes to standing for oppressed women, you choose to turn a blind eye. All of a sudden, you are not well educated on the issues. All of a sudden, you have forgotten the common suffering women all around the world face. How dare you? How dare you forget that it took other women to fight so you could get your rights? How dare you? How dare you become too comfortable to the point other women's oppression no longer move you? How dare you? How dare you only stand for women when it's beneficial to your pockets and your image? How dare you? Where are the women rights activists? Are you silent or have you been silenced? Did you know that women and little girls in Congo are reusing menstrual pads? Did you know that Sudanese women, Palestinian women are being killed and raped at an alarming rate? Have you been keeping up with the oppression of women around you, or has the check silenced your advocacy? Have you been keeping up with the oppression of women around you, or has the check silenced your advocacy? Where are the women rights activists? We cannot stay silent. We will not be silent. We cannot be silenced. Arise, women, arise. Stand with our oppressed sisters and mothers around the world. Stand with the Palestinian women. Stand with the Sudanese women. Stand with the Congolese women and girls. Stand with all the oppressed women around the world. Arise, women, arise. Where are the women rights activists?
What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Black man says he's tired of African men abusing his African women. He's tired of it. Now, there's been a wave of certain Africans, all right, certain African men who are targeting the passport bros for their behavior in Africa. Warranted, because there are some African Americans being very irresponsible and disrespectful in Africa towards those African women, right? And y'all know I have a history of calling them out, right? Those who go to Africa and disrespect African women, right? Because I'm very pro-woman, all right? But I think something we really need to discuss is how African men in Africa treat their women. Because, I mean, we can criticize African Americans, right? Because I see a lot of continental Africa criticizing African Americans because all of a sudden they care about their women. But none of these African men who are trying to inflict harm on African Americans who are minding their own business, because now we got to the point where they're actively trying to inflict harm. All right, so that's where the line gets drawn. It's one thing to criticize, but when you're trying to inflict harm on people, that's where you've crossed the line. Right? And so I've noticed that these same ones that want to inflict harm on African Americans never want to inflict harm on those white people who go to the very same countries, who've been going to the very same countries and abusing the women commercially. You've never heard these Africans who are so, pro-African women now. You've never heard them ever come out strongly against white people who abuse their women. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're docile, because they're Christians, because, Christianity is meant to make you docile. It makes the men soft, right? So maybe are the men too soft? And when they see a white man taking advantage of their women, they just don't do nothing about it? Are they scared? Are they scared to open their mouth to hurt or insult a white man because they're afraid of the consequence? I don't understand. But for some reason, these black African men are all of a sudden now trying to be heroes to their African women, when they couldn't be heroes to their African women when they was getting taken advantage of by them white men, them Europeans who go there and use Africa as a playground, right? And maybe it got something to do with the fact that African men also have adopted the ideology of family values from that white man, and they also like to abuse their African woman, maybe under the guise of Christianity, maybe under the guise of Islam, hell, maybe under the guise of some sort of African traditional spiritual, tradition. Now, me as an African American who goes to Africa and who have grown up with Africans in America, in my community, I have observed firsthand how the dynamics of the African family goes. I've observed it. And I've noticed in Nigeria that women, right, are still having to fight for their rights in Nigeria. That's why when women ask me they want to go to Nigeria and they're solo, I tell them never, don't go solo. And there's some women who will travel solo, because they're brave. But when it comes to establishing yourself and doing any kind of business, if you're a black woman, even if you're an African American woman, you're going to have some issues. Because women in Africa are not respected the way they should be because of Christianity and Islam, because of the white influence. All right? Because there was a time when women were worshipped and praised and they sat equally with the man. But when Christianity came in the picture and Islam came in the picture, all of a sudden the black man started to abuse his black women in Africa. Now, am I saying that African Americans don't abuse our women in America? No, it happens. It happens. Right? Are we saying that Caribbean men don't abuse their women in the Caribbean? Oh, it happens. Are we saying that Afro-Latinos don't abuse their women? Yeah, it happens. Especially with that machismo, right? But let's not pretend like we don't have an epidemic that needs to be dealt with. There's an epidemic of the suppression of black women in Africa. Now, there are some countries that have been very progressive, right? They have made it a very good environment for women. Like I think Rwanda, right? Rwanda. That might be one of the best places in the world to be a woman, right? Right? But outside of Rwanda and maybe Namibia, but we still got a whole bunch of white Germans down there who own the country, who still take advantage and abuse the black African women. But I don't hear any African shouting to the mountaintops that we need to get these white men off of our black women. I don't hear it. I don't hear that. I only hear them talking about African Americans who are just now starting to travel over there. And, I don't hear them. They don't keep the same energy. Right? And like I said, maybe it's because they like to participate in the abuse and they're mad that other people are abusing the women they want to abuse. Right? Because let's not sit here and pretend like black people don't participate in the abuse of black women. Let's not pretend like women are not getting sexually assaulted all the time in African countries and they can't find any justice. Let's not pretend that. Let's not pretend African men don't take women and chop them up in the woods and harvest their organs and sell them to some Christian or some traditionalist for some goddamn ceremony. Let's act like money rituals is not a thing. Let's act like money rituals is not a thing. Let's act like y'all don't have secrets in your closet that need to be real. Like I told you, I said there are many African Americans holding back from the shit that we can say about Africa because we don't want it to look bad. But since we got a whole bunch of male Africans who all of a sudden want to be superheroes for African women, how about we go ahead and go inside that closet and talk about it? Keep the same energy for your own people. Because I've kept the same energy. Listen, I got African Americans who pissed off at me. They call me a tether. They think I'm African. They don't even think I'm African American because the way I talk about them. Because they're stupid. I got Afropeans who question my Africanness because I talk about their dumb ass. Right? But I don't care because they stupid. Right? I got all members of the lower portions of all the nationalities of Africans pissed off at me because I call them out for their stupidity and their ignorance and their hypocrisy. Now, if I got everybody pissed off at me at the same time, that means I'm doing it right. That means I'm right down the middle, right? And I'm keeping the same energy. Just like I keep the same energy for this white man. Just like I keep the same energy for my own ethnic group, African Americans, all the time. I'll keep that same energy for you continental Africans because you guys are not innocent. You guys are not innocent. You guys are complicit in some of the fuckery that happens on this planet, including the women, the African women. There's a reason why African women will go for a white guy. There's a reason why the African woman will go for some Indian, some Arab, some African American. There's a reason why the African woman is looking for everybody but you. Now, I'm only talking to the piece of shits. All right, obviously, there's clearly great African men taking care and loving on them. Obviously. All right, so don't come in my comment section talking about I'm generalizing. I'm being very specific. I wish you guys could comprehend, high level conversations and stop like drawing with your crayons outside of the line and shit and complaining that your picture don't look right. Right? Listen to what I'm saying. All of us got shit. And a lot of us walk around like we ain't got no shit while talking about everybody else's shit. Right? But you Africans, you continental Africans, need to start talking about more of your shit. Don't be ashamed. I mean, maybe you should be. Like, we should be ashamed. I'm ashamed of FBA. I'm ashamed of the degenerates in my community. I'm ashamed of the gangster culture. I'm just saying, I'm ashamed of every degenerate shit that African Americans do. I'm ashamed of our pastors that molest little boys and little girls. I'm ashamed of them. But it happens, and I can admit that. As an African American, I know that the African American pastor is molesting boys and girls in them churches. I can admit that the African American imam is molesting them boys in them damn we call them damn things. The goddamn church with the damn dome on it. You know what I mean? The goddamn where Muslims pray on Fridays and shit. I'm having a brain fart, but y'all know what I mean. I wanted to say madrasa, but I think this calls something else, right? Everybody got shit. And I just think if you're gonna throw shit, you get prepared to get shit thrown at you. And the thing is, these things need to come to light so we can deal with them. How are we going to deal with the fact that Africa systematically suppresses black women because they capitulate to white institutions? How are we going to explain how the African man could easily just beat his woman and his woman won't get no justice? That an African man in many countries can just kill his woman and hide her in the bush and get no justice? Huh? Y'all want to act like that's not a thing? But all of a sudden now, you got some African Americans on YouTube going to Africa, and some of them are very irresponsible, so now you want to go to war. But you didn't go to war with that white man, and you didn't go to war with that African man. Your brother, you don't hold your own brothers and sisters accountable. Because there's some females are complicit in the discrimination against females because they are pick-me's towards the toxic masculine man in Africa that hold up the institutions that suppresses women. So let's not pretend like they not destroying the lives of little girls. Let's not pretend like there's not a reason why some women iron the goddamn breasts of their daughters. Let's not pretend like they don't cut the hair off their daughters so they look more like boys so they don't get molested by some of these nasty ass African men running around just looking for a victim. Let's not pretend, because it's not like I don't know, because I know, because I ask questions when I'm there. I get this from the source. I get this from Nigerian men telling me about it. I get this from seeing it myself in the village that I'm a part of. Huh? So you can't deny what I'm saying. You can be mad, but it's true. In order for us to progress as black people, we gotta put everybody's shit out there. Stop acting like you perfect. Stop acting like you a victim. Everybody not a victim. Everybody not perfect. And America is not the only evil empire on the planet. There's a lot of other evil empires. They're just not as strong as America. That's what y'all don't get. This good and this good and evil shit, right, that you see in the movies, that shit's for fake. All right? In the real world is only the strong survive. Dog eat dog. All right? America's just a big ass dog. There's a lot of little dogs that's real violent. All right? So anyway, without further ado, let's let this African man who really cares, because this one, I know he cares. Let's let this African man speak his piece about how other African men abuse and uphold the institutions that continue to abuse the African woman. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Let me say something else that will make a lot of men very angry again. Most African men grew up watching their mothers suffer, so they think that it is normal for a woman to suffer. So they grew up watching their mothers endure pain in silence. They saw their father cheat on their mother. They saw him shout on their mother. They saw him abuse their mother, and she bore it and she stayed, and they grew up together. So they expect the same treatment for their wives. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you ask them, what do you want in a woman? They say, I want a woman that can endure. That's crazy. Is enduring bad? No, but look at your mentality of enduring. You learned from your father that a good woman is a woman who can tolerate suffering, endure pain, endure maltreatment, and stay. That's why you see every man, most men rather, want to marry a woman like their mother. Do you know why? Because they saw their father deal with this woman and she stayed. So they want a woman they can deal with and she will stay. The women of this generation will shock you. So if you are still thinking that a woman must endure, adjust, and remain silent while you do the same thing your father did, this generation women will shock you. They will shock you to your bone marrow. Should I tell you why your mother endured? Because she had no options. Some women in that generation, they had no support system. they had no voice. And most importantly, they had no financial independence. But see what today's women are doing. So you better change that mindset if you want to marry and let it last. Today's woman is educated though. She works, she thinks, she asks questions. So when you marry a modern woman and you expect a silent suffering mother, you are in for a long thing. Now, let me say something very uncomfortable now to all the men out there. See, some men now are not looking for wives. They are looking for another version of their mother's sacrifice. They want a woman who can endure disrespect, tolerate cheating, and still cook dinner. But the world has changed. Here's the painful truth that many men don't want to understand. Just because your mother tolerated something does not mean another woman will. And maybe, just maybe, many African men are not angry with women. They are just angry that today's woman has refused to suffer the way their mothers did. Some truth is bitter, but truth still remains the truth. I'm not speaking rebellion into the heart of women. I'm talking to men married to good women, not men married to crazy women. If this blessed you, just click the follow button there and repost so that every man will see this and change.
Hello, good evening. I believe you're all doing well. This evening, I want to tell you that there's been an increase in kidnapping and ritual murders going on in Ghana. So, we must all be careful. When you are picking a taxi, be careful. When you are picking Uber, or Yango or whatever, be careful. When you are picking a trotro, also be careful, because these are the things they've been using to kidnap people. A lot of people have been sharing their experiences about these kidnappers. All these things started with the influence of the Nigerians or the foreigners coming into Ghana, and their activities are very deadly. So please, let's be careful out there. Today alone, we heard that they've kidnapped 3 pregnant women. They've also kidnapped some children and also some ladies. So please, let's be careful. A lady just shared her experience with me, how she escaped these kidnappers. She took a trusky at a Shaiman, and it was about 8 Igbo guys in the trusky. But something prompted her to get out of the car, and the moment that she tried to step out, they were trying to spark the car. They were trying to hold their hands to prevent her from stepping out of the car. And by God's grace, she was able to step out. And also, we also saw and we also heard about some occultists who were going to dump some human dead bodies into a sea in Takoradi. A lot of things are going on. So please, let's be careful out there. Minyanum Ghana for me pamacho, and then you may me pesa me catch you say, and sana obefa car, obefa taxi, obefa trotro, obefa oven, obefa Uber. Me pamacho, mama mo ninda ho, because abonniefo bebre abaye manimu. Omo kidnappe enkrofo, omo kum enkrofo edeye sikadro ene niema ekeka ho. Enti me pacho ansa na obefa ovan bi, obefa taxi ana Uber no. Hwemu yie ansa na wafa. Enkrofo bebre ahye omo experiences. Enen kwa yate se oma kidnapo apemfo miensa. Omo kidnapo enkora nso. Ena afi nso Emma any meme last month yete se omuku taxi drivers be se miensa omo be feel say me pese me ko baby be fa me ko odi omo be ko no makwa akokun atokwan so no ma fa o car eni ade ena sister bi nso e kan na sem se okofa ovan blue bi ewo assignment na okofa ye no na Nigeria for Igbo for mema be yese 8 bi ena te car nim na omo try se nko omo kidnapping no so otena car nim no ena bibi prompting no bibi ka chen say onsi oye so osi Africa nim no omo ye se nko omo besi ne ho kwan say obetimi asi Africa nim omo ye so omo tu car no ne ade ena ono so start say o tie mo ne omo kon ye no je ne ho no osi free car nim enti mesra mo ansa na abefa chocho no hwe car nim yie ena eni say this time kwampo say emfa wo say ye enwumre anopo wa wi enwumre omutimi kidnap omutimi di ubone enti me pa mo cha ye na ma eya ye nhwe ye hu yi because say Ghana ye hu Ghana nti say Ghana na first na bibia ye okay no onama ojin so we safe no say Ghana nti say biom abone yes for na oma begu oma enimu no oma maniema mu aye den amayen say wona mabontin pa na usuru ti say nkwara yi bi school say ya me pa cho mo amode mo ma ema ayika say onfa ni nko school ma oni ade no ebe ya nka wa wo so oba ne nsa na wo de ne ko opon a wakofa no na wo de naba because sane mani nyina no omu use de cheche nkora ne koku omu enti yesra mu moma mani nda ho moma mo ho ban na moma moma enso ho ban na afei so Ghana fo na omo ne Nigeria fo na echwetwe mpana no mesra mu monhwa mu hu yi o na mo beti mani no na omakumo de my sacrifice na omakumo de makoji sikaduro mesra mu monhwa mu hu yi na mo mbo mo ho ban na mo nkwa eyeden ehia me pamacho edamase.
These scammers are typically running a number of different operations at the same time. They have a number of different victims, and they have patience.
Arun Rao is the Justice Department official in Washington overseeing romance scam cases. Last year, more than 60,000 Americans reported being a victim. Many are older singles, lonely after a spouse dies, often with more money to target. But law enforcement says no one is safe.
We believe that is also substantially undercounting the true extent of the problem.
Undercounted because people are wrapped in shame and embarrassment.
They may be embarrassed that they have been victimized in this way. They may be afraid to tell their friends or family.
Rao says his main challenge is that scammers are far away.
It's become a global problem.
Take Laura. Federal agents were able to trace her emails from Frank, not to Sweden, but here, to Ghana. The FBI has participated in operations in the West African nation and nearby Nigeria, where most of these scams originate. We tracked down a former scammer in Ghana who called himself Emmanuel and told us how scammers can trick people like Laura. Once they establish trust, hope takes over.
You need to be very good in building the trust. So when we are able to do that, that is then we start extracting money from them.
Happy. Note, my ritualist boyfriend. Ladies, warning, do not let this happen to you. Story time. So, I lived in a very, very small village and I had a lot of suitors coming and asking for my hand in marriage, and I turned each and every one of them down. But one guy from our neighboring village, very wealthy, approached me and I was happy. No one in the village knew his source of wealth because he wasn't rich, he was poor, and all of a sudden, he woke up filthy rich. But a lot of people warned me not to actually enter into any serious relationship with him because I do not know the source of his wealth. I didn't listen and I was happy just dating him. He treated me very well and I didn't have any reasons to be concerned. One day he rang me and said he wants me to come and visit him in the city. I was excited because I have grown up in the village, never ever left the village, and saw this as a very big opportunity. Little did I know the danger that awaits me. I got home and I told my mum that my boyfriend invited me to come visit him in the city. My mum had a very concerned look. She was very worried, and she said, my daughter, money is not everything. Money is not happiness. Maybe you should reconsider. I told my mum that I just want to visit him in the city and I would be back. My mum said to be very careful, although she wasn't happy about it, but I still decided to go. She came and picked me up in this flashy, luxury, big car. I was happy as I entered the car because I've never ever entered a car looking like that. I complimented his car and he thanked me and said, listen, if you get married to me, there is more for you. I was so excited, thinking that he wants to marry me. We set off on our way to the city. The journey was very long. We drove past village after village, went into forest after forest. And as we got closer to the city, he took a U-turn into this really dingy road, which looks horrifying. I got so scared and asked him where we are going. He told me that he's got a big surprise for me and it's just in there. I shouldn't worry. Although I was excited for the surprise, I was also nervous because the road that he took led to like in the middle of this forest without any life to be seen. After a while, we arrived at this abandoned house, really raggedy. No one has ever lived in it. I said, you can come out. I said to him that, why are we here in this abandoned house? And my boyfriend said, I have got a beautiful surprise in there for you. As I got out, I saw a couple of men dressed in dark figures approaching the car. My boyfriend said, get her. I told him, what do you mean get her? He said, I'm really sorry dear, I love you, but I have to sacrifice you for my wealth. You have to sacrifice me for your wealth. Before I knew it, the men were after me and I started running. I ran into the forest, anywhere my legs could take me, and came to this massive river. So I jumped into this massive river, and the river took me to shore. And I hear them saying, we've lost her. I came out of the other end of the river and thought I was out of danger. Little did I know there was worse. As I ran, I could hear voices saying, she's gone through this way. I legged it for a very long time until I came to this little hut. There was smoke coming out of the hut. I wasn't thinking of the dangers, but I just wanted to be out of this danger. I got to the hut and I banged on the door and I said, please, someone help me. I'm in danger. Let me in. An old-looking man came out of the hood and said, my daughter, are you okay? I said, no, I'm not. Panting, trying to catch my breath. He said, please come in. I went in and he said, what is the matter? I told him that there are ritualists chasing me, trying to sacrifice me. He told me that I've got nothing to worry about. He's a hunter and he has lived here for a very, very long time and nothing would happen to me. I'm safe now. As I sat down, I could hear the voices of the men and boyfriend saying that she's in that hood. We came out and my boyfriend said to the hunter, let her go. The hunter said anyone dares to come near would be in danger. And as it approaches, he fired an arrow and hit one of the men. The other two ran off. My boyfriend, as he turned to run off, I grabbed a massive stick and I hit him at the back of his head and he fell down. The hunter tied his hands up and kept him in his hood. I asked him why he was doing this. He said that I'm the girl that he has sacrificed. His wealth is from sacrificing innocent girls to make him rich. Anyway, the next day, the hunter took my boyfriend back to the village and it was reported to the police. When my mom heard the story, she rushed to the village square and she was so happy to see me. She was worried, but also happy to see me alive. She hugged me and I regretted not listening to what my mom had to tell me. Anyway, he was arrested and is now rotting in jail. Ladies, not all glitter is gold. Be careful what you chase after. Drop down your thoughts, your opinions on what you think on this story. Let me know what you would have done if that was you. I will be reading the comments.
11 p.m. A police for a war a wutu breku ati a branch bi a friend bright leva but they don't friend bright no one man so
Ghana.
Yes, sir.
Where did you got the two girls to kill?
In Ghana.
This is for parents. I'm sure most of you would have seen that video. Most of you would have seen it. When you are talking, I didn't know that there is anything called Yahoo Plus. So it's today I'm not knowing that there is something called Yahoo Plus. So we think Yahoo before is go and collect Oibo money to dupe Oibo people. Now Yahoo Plus is ritual, killing virgins to make money. This is what I'm always telling you parents. So be close to your children. We know economic is the Nigeria economy is bad. We know that Nigeria economy is bad. Your children will come, they will go and bring money. They buy big car and start gallivanting up and down. They carry money, come and give you and come and be displaying at home and building house and everything. Just overnight. Somebody that probably, if the person is a graduate, he didn't get a job before, he didn't have a work. You mother or father, you cannot ask your son, where are you getting the money from? You cannot sit your son down and tell your son the implication of all this. You cannot sit down and be worried and say, where did you get this money for? You will not advise your child. Please. That's what I'm saying every day. You, as a parent, you brought children into this world. You're supposed to be responsible for their well-being. You're supposed to be responsible for what they do and teach them. The Bible said you bring a child up the way they should go, and they will not depart. They will never depart from it. You have to show that good moral. If you are not a desperate person, your children cannot be so desperate like that and go and bring money that you don't know where it comes from. When they give you the money, you balance and sit down and be doing mama with the money there. You'll be doing mama with the money that you don't know where it goes. That is blood money. That is somebody's children, other people's children that were killed to get that money. Maybe your son is involved in ritual and they bring the money for you and you sit down, start making mama there and build the house and carry car up and down. Overnight money. When your children come with overnight money, you don't know where the money come from. Ask questions. Sit them down and talk to your children. Sit them down and talk to your children. Be involved, because all these things did not just come overnight like that. All these things that they are doing, this Yahoo that now came up, you have seen other people doing it. You encourage your children to go and join. Just go and bring money. When they start bringing money and build the house for you, you'll be happy there. These things doesn't last. Any money that is not genuine does not last. Please, parents, take note.
Kenyan men don't see Kenyan women as people. The catcalling problem is getting worse. The harassment is insane at this point. And it's not only that the entitlement to women's bodies is so intense, right? Every man just thinks that they can touch you, they can talk to you however they want, they can say anything about you. It's the fact that other men do nothing about it. There has never been a man mwenye kunitetea kwa barabara hata nikikuwa mtoto. Men don't understand how scary it is. They don't understand it. They could never survive a day as a Kenyan woman. Your life quality as a Kenyan woman is already poor just by the fact that you're a woman. You're going to always be scared that some person wants to grab you. Some person wants to say, you can't even enjoy any day. And the thing is, it's not only a Nairobi problem. It's not, because nikifikiria every single place in the country, it has happened to me. Someone has grabbed me. Someone has harassed me. Someone is talking about me, right? And men will sit there and be like, yeah, we're generalizing, and men will like go on hate campaigns against feminists. You guys do nothing. You sit there and watch us fight off all these harassers that are also men, and you sit there and do nothing, and they can only think that someone who cannot defend someone else has no empathy for that person, does not think that they are worthy enough of being defended. In fact, they laugh. When you try to defend yourself, they laugh. They all laugh. And I'm trying to explain, the situation is so terrible. Every single woman can talk about it. It's terrible. In fact, I feel like the only time where this harassment reduces is like when you're walking with a man, right? Now suddenly everyone knows how to act. Everyone knows how to act correct. But no one else talks about the harassment and the assault genuinely that Kenyan women experience except Kenyan women. No man ever says, hey guys, wacha kumongelesha hivyo. No one. I'm always alone. People look at me like I'm mad. Mi siku hizi wezi niongelesha vile unataka. Pia mimi nakuongelesha vile unataka. Mbona unaniguza? Nitakuuliza mbona unaniguza? Mbona usiguze mwanaume mwenzako hivyo? It's disgusting. It's genuinely disgusting. And for me, for people to come and like have smear campaigns against women and to be so upset at feminists. But when those things happen, where people are assaulted, harassed, where people are like, you can't even walk. Like it happens to children. It has been happening to me since I was 8. Like they're grabbing you when in toto ujui. They say nothing. And you want me to not be upset at the state of Kenyan men.
It should have no place in our culture. We are violating young girls without their consent. We're violating babies, just to put that into perspective. And we're going to link resources and to support nonprofits and how to fight against FGM. I think every African woman in the world should do their best to either support the cause or learn more about the cause, because there are so many. You would be surprised how many African women have experienced this traumatic thing. And we want to take the time to actually close out this part of the episode, because I know, it could be a bit of a trigger warning, and we're going to input a trigger warning at the beginning of the episode before we air this. But, I thought it was important to discuss this in the episode, because I don't think you can talk about sex as an African woman without talking about FGM.
One of the things that was so funny, like being in Sierra Leone, was how many men will tell you, hey, I want to talk business with you, When you go for talk business and they talk nasty. Like, they're not even talking about business. They're like, oh, say I want you, boy, I want you. And I remember I told one of my male friends, he said, he said, when people say they want to talk business, they usually don't want to talk about anything. No, they usually don't have anything to talk about. I was like, what? They're like, they use it as a way to like talk to you as a woman. I was like, I don't get that. He was like, here things are very different. He explained to me a lot of things. I told him that also when I was like looking for a place in Sierra Leone, that before I open my mouth, like if they think I'm like not American, or before I get there, if I'm using my Sierra Leone number, right, they act one way, like they kind of don't want to rent to me because I'm a woman, but then when they find out, oh, I'm American, I'm like, okay, cool. And my friend and also the agents, they told me, they said because in Sierra Leone they don't like renting, or even some parts of Africa they don't like renting, sometimes to single women. Anyways, women are at a disadvantage in Sierra Leone. I'm not even gonna explain the whole reason. If you know, sorry, all this stuff's in my face. But they don't when you're a single girl, they're like, because they think a man's gonna pay for it. And they think that if you break up with a man, then next year there'll be issues and all this stuff, or you bring your boyfriend to it. I'm like, but it's my money. They're like, once they know you're American though, you're fine. But before they know as American, when they think, oh, the person I meet is just a Sierra Leone girl that's a local, they don't respond like that. And they don't take you seriously as a woman. They just feel like you don't have the money. They feel like it's a man paying for you. I remember one time I had to get my male friend to like talk for me, and he was like, you know what, let me call this guy. He called the guy's like, yes sir. I was gonna meet with that guy for like a whole week, the agent, like, can we meet to see the apartment? He was like playing with me. Finally, my male friend was like, when can we meet for that? He's like, oh yeah, I can do it today. And my friend's like, okay, good. I'm gonna call. What time are you available? He said 12, so I can do it today 12. He's like, okay, good. I'll call you when we're available. He said, yes sir. I'm like, yes sir. You are literally ignoring me. He not paying. I'm the one paying. I'm the one giving you money. Because first of all, they charge you the tour, they charge you your agent fee, and they gotta pay for the place. But once you're a woman, they don't take you seriously in Sierra Leone. Okay, so one of the things that was so funny, like being in Sierra Leone.
I want to ask people, why don't we ever look at the murder of people with that rate? We don't. Because we don't see women as equal. We don't see them as deserving. We see this as a matter of, it's a private matter between two people.
Femicide refers to the killing of girls and women because of their gender. Kenyan rights groups want this language adapted into national law. Doing so, they argue, would address the deliberate and systemic violence women face.
All we are asking them is to declare femicide a distinct crime. And by saying we are asking femicide to be declared a distinct crime, we are asking for a very simple thing. Femicide can be measured. You cannot fund that which cannot be measured. We have numbers that we have taken from the cases that we have seen.
Breaking news, the Kenyan government is now going after the trending Russian guy because of abusing and exploiting Kenyan women. The state is urging all the women involved to seek help. So there is a number in which all these women, they can call to go and talk to someone, 1195. They can call that number. It's free to call it so that they can go and talk to someone. This guy exposed over 400 Kenyan women, and these women never thought that this was going to happen to them. They thought that they found true love. They thought that maybe they would be taken to Russia. But this Russian guy had other agenda. He recorded all of them without their permission. This lady, they thought that maybe true love is here, that they are not going to be single anymore. So this guy recorded them to make money on TikTok, on Telegram, and also on YouTube. So Ghana was the one to react about all these videos, because this guy was also in Ghana, and he also recorded over 400 Ghanaian women before going to Kenya. Because of Ghana, all his social media accounts, they were all deleted, and according to some information, this guy has been arrested, but Ghana want him to be taken to Ghana to face consequences because of what he did to Ghanaian women. And now Kenya is joining in.
This is 25-year-old Sheila Lumumba, a Kenyan non-binary lesbian who was raped, beaten, stabbed in the face, neck, and chest before having their eyes partially gouged out, arm and leg broken, and being eventually left for dead in April 2022. Now, according to reports, Sheila was discovered in this state in their one-bedroom apartment after 3 days of friends and colleagues trying to get a hold of them. Now, you're obviously wondering, what exactly happened to Sheila? Now, Sheila's identity in a society such as Kenya, where gay marriage and sex remain illegal, is a serious area of contention. In fact, in school, teachers would call Sheila's father and report their suspicions that Sheila might actually be a lesbian, which caused some tension in Sheila's household. Now, when Sheila would eventually come out as a non-binary lesbian to their father and mother, were confused, to say the least. And it said that Sheila was isolated, with Sheila's father being completely opposed to the concept, and mother just not understanding what Sheila meant. Now, although Sheila's parents would eventually come round to be more accommodating and would reestablish that relationship with Sheila, not everyone in Kenya would be able to do this. In fact, according to Akinyi, Sheila's close cousin, Sheila was constantly being harassed online. To be more specific, Sheila was receiving threats from a work colleague via SMS, and apparently they got so bad that Sheila was actually looking to report them before they were tragically murdered. Which brings us to the night of Sheila's murder. Now, according to CCTV footage from the night of Sheila's murder, Sheila was spotted leaving a bar with 3 men, one of whom was a former co-worker. Now, it's unclear whether this is the actual co-worker who had been said to harass Sheila, because Sheila actually never got the opportunity to report who it was before they passed on. So sadly, we actually never find out who this was, because this is the last time that Sheila would have been seen alive. The next time anyone would see Sheila outside of this group would be after 3 days after this encounter that left Sheila dead in their apartment. Now, Sheila's death was clearly a murder. The state in which their house and their body was found confirmed to any reasonable individual looking at this scene that something terrible happened here. Sheila was found in a pool of their own blood with serious injuries to their body. There were blood spattered all across the curtains and wall. However, despite the suspicions surrounding the murder, the Kenyan police did such a poor and shoddy job with the investigations that Sheila's friends and family started doing it themselves. For example, the CCTV footage that showed Sheila leaving the bar with the 3 men was found by a family friend. Additionally, family members went in after the police had conducted an investigation and found that there was actually no possible murder weapon in Sheila's house. Yeah, family members went in and found a knife and a razor blade in Sheila's room that could have possibly been used to inflict some of the injuries on Sheila's body. Moreover, Sheila is said to have been hit on the head by a blunt object, and according to friends and family, they found an object inside Sheila's apartment that could have been identified as the blunt object that hit Sheila. And this is not the first time that the police are said to have behaved in this way, particularly when it comes to the murder of members of the LGBTQIA+ community. In fact, their behavior was so appalling that various representatives of this community began using the hashtag Justice for Sheila in hopes that maybe if they gain more visibility, the police might do something, might actually investigate, and this may apply pressure for something to be done about the murder of Sheila Lumumba. And to be honest, for a short period of time, it did seem to work, because you see, the police actually made an arrest. They arrested one of the 3 men seen leaving with Sheila that night. And this was her former co-worker, 23-year-old Billington Wambui Mwadhi. And Billy actually pled guilty to the murder of Sheila, which basically made this a slam dunk case. In fact, Sheila's family had asked for a 50-year sentence, but unfortunately and almost expectedly, Billy was only sentenced to 30 years in prison. Now, while there were some people that were outraged by the sentence, a large percentage of the Kenyan public felt that Billy was actually not even on the wrong, with some even calling him a hero for what he did, that he carried out a type of messianic justice that is needed in the society when it comes to these to members of this community. With people making comments like, "Thanks dear killer, you are an African hero," and other people just basically making analogies and making references to the Bible to justify the murder of Sheila following that they were a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. I'll just leave the comments here and you can go through them by yourself, some of them.
The cases of sexual abuse in Kenya are skyrocketing. The cases of femicide in Kenya are skyrocketing. Every single form of abuse and discrimination in this country is skyrocketing. I don't think we are angry enough to understand that children at the age of 3 are being raped by men who are very much walking in the streets of this country, safe and sound, without us getting justice. I don't know if we want to normalize rape being a culture here. You can look at India. I don't want us to normalize the idea of that women deserve to be raped for a correctional measure, or women deserve to be raped as a form of punishment. No one deserves any form of abuse. And now, tuangalie sasa kwa ufasaha. We're not only looking at women being victims, even the men. And so when we say all men need to take accountability, including helping us, or rather being part of the work of bringing these accountability spectrums to action, it's because it is your friends, it is your guys, it is your boys, it is your G who's actually a perpetrator. It starts as an assault. It starts as you touching women the way you want to because you feel like women are obligated to present to you whatever you feel like you need sexually. It looks at you men as creating systems that have promoted us women to be objectified and sexualized. And when you look at all these concepts, I don't think we have any other particular spectrum to blame other than men. And this is not just me being, oh, you're such a, oh, whatever, feminist. I'm a healed feminist. And most of us are. And we're not coming from a point of hate. We're coming because we have fathers, we have brothers, we have uncles. And we're looking at if they are not victims because men are vile, they are actually perpetrators. And these families that actually protect even perpetrators just because it's a family member who has defiled a child within the family. It's a shame that our society is turning to be the most vile it has been in so long.
My name is Shamsa and I'm from Glow Club, Navy, Kenya. Gender-based violence and backward cultural practices that are discouraging girls from exploiting their future potential. I come from the small town in Mandera, northeastern part of Kenya. The people are majorly Cushitic speakers and mostly the Somalis. Most of my people are not very educated, that's why they still hold on to some aspects that I would say do not fit in the 21st century. Right from my village, a girl is married off at an early age. You are basically ready for marriage once you hit puberty. While some parents do this to get well from the dowry, others do this to save themselves from humiliation that they get when a girl is discovered to be pregnant. I am lucky because my parents took me to school as they saw the impact a girl gets when they are educated. Right from my village, there was a girl who was married at the age of 13 and the husband was 40 years. The girl will leave the house and play with her real friends, her real age mates. When the husband will come back and see that nothing was done or chose not done to his expectation, the girl will be beaten to his pulp for not doing the so-called wifely duties. Early marriage goes hand in hand with circumcision. Girls are forced to undergo circumcision. You are forced to undergo it so that you can be considered mature and responsible. Gender FGM has been talked about by many people, but one needs to see the real victims who have undergone it. It is horrid and dehumanizing. It is horrid and dehumanizing. Infections from the knives are not so far from fetch, and people get anemia as they lose a lot of blood. Lastly, a woman in my community is considered to be half-witted children as their views and opinions are suppressed. Lastly, gender-based violence is a major concern in my community, as the right of a woman is constantly violated. This lowers their esteem as they cannot pursue their career.
Wife beating ni kama initiation ceremony. When you are newly married, lazima kule slaps ama belts so that heshima ianzie hapo sasa. Unless you do that, an African woman will not respect you.
How regularly?
Regularly? Once, at least once. You just mark the territory once. So that next time ukimwambia nitakugonga anajua unagonganga.
Alisema msichana ukiwa nayo kwa nyumba ama bibi, lazima juu unaweza kuwa polite, ajue weak point yake. Huyu mwanamume wangu yule ni mwenye hata nikimkosea hatafanya kitu. Sasa mnyanyangu aliniambia dawa si ya kumpiga vile watu wanampiga kukufa. Dawa ni kudiscipline. Ukitaka kudiscipline mpige, mchape. Wacha siku yenye kazi yangu iliisha. Bibi aliniambia unajua mimi ndio nakulisha saa hizi. Na unajua hiyo wakati mimi ndio nalipa rent bado. Sisi ni control. Kama mimi ni mmoja wa kupiga bibi. There were only a few opposing voices arguing to treat women with respect.
Na wanawake ni wazuri. Mimi I'm 13 years in marriage.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Woo, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Woo, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.